Why doesn't Tora, as the largest child, not simply eat the others?
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. I didn't realise we were all going to... Did you two plan that?
No.
Although I kind of just went with it because the first time we tried to do that, Laura just went straight in with Merry Christmas.
So you were anticipating it?
Yeah, I
wish
knew
I
she was
had
going to do that.
Bells. I can't remember. There's a Christmas movie where they're like, jingle, and it just goes off to the side and there's a person with jingle bells and there's jingle, jingle, jingle.
Oh, bless her. She's so cute.
Aww.
So we've got a different setup today, haven't we, guys?
We do a bit.
Yeah,
All the
Elsie's...
lamps.
No, Elsie's forcing me to lead this one. She said,
Oh.
you do one, you lay about jobless cunt, or whatever you said.
I didn't say that.
I'm not actually jobless.
Actually, Meg had an idea for an episode and I said, go on then.
So it's a special episode today.
On
Who's
to the
excited?
subject at hand.
I'm
We're-
excited.
We're doing our first non-TV show, which obviously is a film, but thanks Laura for spoiling that.
Fine, next special, we'll do a radio play.
Do you think we're even going to title this episode with what it is, or just Christmas special?
I don't know yet. I think...
Because unfortunately for like SEO purposes, we may have to
Girl
say what it is. Girl stocks, girl stocks. So, what are we doing today?
We're doing Nanny McPhee.
Government nanny?
And when you brought this up, I won't lie, I did kind of think, really? Like, it's...
Why?
Because it's not keeping with the form of the show, and I was like, I don't know if that is interesting enough. And every time someone suggests that we watch Nanny McPhee, I always think, I've seen that enough times. I do not need to watch it again. And every time I see it, I'm close to tears in at least 3 different places.
Yeah, she does say this when she's
Yeah.
like, and then she sat there like, my mum always cries at that line.
No,
Which line is
she doesn't cry, but she finds it emotional.
Oh, sorry,
It's-
sorry, Siobhan.
I think you said it brings us to tears.
She's already mad with
No,
me as well. I don't
I
need to
didn't-
get on another bad side of your mum.
She's not mad with you.
I don't think Siobhan
She's mad
has
near
that
me.
side.
The line is, when you want me but do not need me, then I must... No, when you need me but do not want me, then I must stay. When you want me but no longer need me, then I have to go. And it's emotional because it's about parenthood, apparently. I wouldn't know.
There is something you should understand about the way I work. When you need me, but do not want me, then I must stay. When you want me, but no longer need me, then I have to go. It's rather sad, really, but there it is.
Laura, the thing is, Laura is stone cold on the inside. So when you say that even though she keeps knocking on my door in the middle of the day and saying, I've seen this thing on Instagram and it nearly made me cry, things like this, especially kids, you're weirdly stoic. I wonder if that's got anything to do with your upbringing.
I think that the relaying it to parenting is like, well, do you ever want your parents around? It's yes, you're right. It's just because my childhood was not idyllic.
And Colin Firth wasn't your dad,
It'd be very weird if he was,
would it?
just because of how horny you are for him.
I'm not that horny for him.
Okay, sometimes
Just
you
a little
are.
bit horny.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
We've started throwing the word horny around a lot recently, haven't we?
We have, actually. It needs to stop. What's happening?
Shall we talk about what it's about?
I would love that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is one that I remembered super well, so, and have watched multiple times. Actually, was it this year or last year for my birthday?
Well, the benefit we have to doing this is that we have something that we're all very familiar with and all very enjoy.
Yeah.
So,
I thought I knew it super well, and like every time I watch it, I notice a new thing.
that's really strange because I don't think, I think we watched it for Laura's birthday this year and I'd not seen it in about nearly 15 years at that point.
Yeah. Same.
But I could quote it and I could follow lines on, like.
Oh, me too. But there are certain,
but the same. I notice new things every time.
like
I watch
little
it.
asides and little jokes that, like, I can't believe that even as late as yesterday, I was like, oh, I've never noticed that. That's really funny.
So it is about a father who
A single dad.
a single recently
dad who works 2 jobs.
he loves his kids and never stops.
Yeah.
He's recently widowed.
Very recently.
Very recently.
Okay, we'll
Talk about this, but so he's recently widowed. He's got 7 children who are so naughty that they are scaring away every single nanny
On purpose.
that the agency sends to them, to the point where the film begins with them scaring off the most recent nanny and the agency refuses to send out another one,
What's
which
her
obviously
name?
is a big old problem.
Nanny
And-
Whetstone?
Yeah.
They've eaten the baby!
Nanny
And he
Whetstone.
doesn't know how to discipline his own kids. Like, he clearly has never had to. It was always the mum.
Yeah.
It
he's also
seems like.
so guilty.
He's a pushover.
He's so guilty. that
He is
doesn't-
quite a guilty man, yeah.
He like we don't specifically know why it was, but he can't bring himself to discipline his kids because he feels so guilty.
I think as well, there's this idea that like they're what is left of his wife, and therefore he does pander to them a bit.
Yeah.
And then so he sees in the newspaper an ad for Nanny McPhee, who
A government nanny.
I don't know if that's the first time he sees it, but he keeps hearing the person you need.
Well, because he
is
goes
Nanny
to the
McPhee.
agency. The agency person actually says there's no more nannies left, and then the mail slot creaks open.
The person you need is Nanny McPhee.
Is that you, Mrs. Partridge?
The person you need is Nanny McPhee.
Excellent. I needed to start right away. I'm already late for a vital tea dance.
Nanny McPhee is not on our books. Nanny McPhee is not on anyone's book.
The person
letterbox.
you need is Nanny McPhee.
You know, I have nothing to contribute to this episode that is that insightful, genuinely.
No, I
like,
don't-
all I'm going to be doing is gushing about how this film makes me feel.
That's fine.
And that particular bit, when I was a child, like the letterbox opening and the disembodied voice, it thrilled me. I was like, it wasn't horror, but it was like the closest. It's like, oh, this is creepy and we're going to meet her at some point. And I was just thrilled by that scene. And when he sees it in the newspaper and the words have been cut out, I just want to mention one more thing as well.
You
while
can do
we're-
as much talking as you want.
Thanks. On the subject of this dad not being able to discipline his own kids. I've worked in retail / hospitality since always.
Interesting. Where's this gonna go?
One of my biggest icks is dads that do not know how to discipline
Parent
their
their
kids.
children.
Like mums, yeah, fine, but like when it's a dad, because obviously the area we live in and the shop I work in as well, it's often posh dads, and you really get the feeling that like they hardly ever take the kids out. It's always the mum that takes the kids out on like the shopping and the errands and stuff, and they're sort of dancing around their own kids and they're like scared, and I find it an unbelievable ick. I'm like, can you please just step up? This is embarrassing.
So absolutely, I won't any names or anything. There's someone who I know who they're dating a guy who messy divorce, right? Who is exactly this kind of dad. He has no idea how to parent his children. He has no idea how to discipline them. And these people are in their like 30s and 40s, I think 40s, coming to me, a 25-year-old, going, help us. I'm like, are you serious? And then telling me about the kids and telling me the issues with the kids. I'm like, yeah, you need to discipline your children. You need to consistently discipline your children. And I feel like it's that simple.
The thing is, there is a difference because I don't think that the Colin Firth dad is one of those dads.
No, I don't
Because
either.
the ones you see in the shop, they don't know anything about their kids either.
Yeah.
And this guy has got 7 kids and he will do anything for
He
them.
also does know about his kids.
He does know about his kids. He loves them.
Do they go to bed when they're told?
Well, no. No.
Do they get up when they're told?
Well, no, not exactly.
Do they get dressed when they're told?
Well, now that's a good question.
And there's like this implication that since the mum died, he's been a bit distant. But because she can't have been dead that long, he can't have been distant for that long. So he's not been being a bad dad for long.
Yeah, they do talk about it as if it's been like a growing, festering thing that he's been. But actually, I only thought about this. We all only thought about this time we watched it. That baby is what? A few, like maybe one. No, not even.
That,
yeah. So she'll have died.
Oh, because she can't walk.
She can't
at
walk.
all.
Yeah,
I'm just getting tricked by the fact she could talk. Because I was walking at 11 months, like perfectly fine. So yeah, she's like if one.
Yeah.
If.
So the mum can't have realistically have been dead that long.
Yeah.
So shall we jump straight into the? I don't want to say it. Someone else say it.
Plot.
It made me very uncomfortable when you brought this up. That Colin Firth has a breeding kink.
I can't believe you brought that up so soon. That is so
honestly.
much further down in my notes.
Yeah, but we're talking about.
That would come way later.
Right, yeah, no, here's the thing. I can't, do you know, and I should have made a note of it at the time, but there is something he says to the kids, insert clip here.
There's no time to mince words. I can't support my own family. I never have been able to. There's so many of you. But you were all so delicious. And when Aggie came along and your mother was so ill, I said to her, I think I'm going to have to stop now, dear. And she said, I know.
That is,
They're delicious.
yeah, he says you were all so delicious. And it was like, he's basically talking about the mum getting ill, I think.
The mum is ill, but despite her being presumably of a weaker constitution because she's mysteriously ill, they keep having children.
And she says, oh, I think this will have to be the last one or whatever. And he says, I know, but you're all just so delicious. I'm not being funny, but this couple have got a breeding kink, and that's why they've got 7 kids.
I will say that,
in fact, the Celia Imrie character also references
No
this.
wonder there's so many of you.
Yes. I will say, like, a little bit of, like, projection, anachronistic stuff, because it is the 80s.
Have you got a breeding kink?
No, what?
I thought you were about to say protection.
Anachronistic projection of modern perceptions of having children.
I'm not being funny, but if I don't know what docs means, what does that mean?
Well, basically, so, like, it's the 1860s, having that many children is completely normal, but we're projecting the modern conception of, oh, you've had 7 children. Wow.
No, it's not the amount of kids that makes me say that. It is,
I know.
It is what he says about them.
No, I'm fully with you on that bit, calling them yeah. But that when she says, no wonder there's so many of you.
It was all too clear what he wanted, and marriage had nothing to do with it. No wonder there's so many of you.
You wouldn't, in a Victorian time, say
sure.
that. Oh, wow, there's so many of you if there's 22 of them, and they're all alive.
So
Wow.
I feel a bit stupid for asking this, but it's not a wealthy household, because the reason he's so distant is because he has to work, and there's only one of him, and he has to find a new wife to keep the allowance coming in from Angela Lansbury. So they obviously don't have a lot of money. Was there electric lighting in Victorian society, or was it just for the rich? Or
I
because
think if there was, it was not in the countryside. Absolutely not. That house would not have electric lighting.
and yet they have so much of it.
They have quite a lot of electric lighting, especially in the kids' room. I think it came in the 19th century, electric lighting to the first houses in London.
Okay,
Isn't
yeah.
it weird that we see like period dramas and like period pieces where the families are not considered wealthy, but they live in massive houses, because the poor people then didn't have houses. Poor people now have houses, or at least, well, most of them do.
Rent,
Yeah,
maybe.
but back then it was like if you were poor, you were in the workhouse, or you were on the streets,
Or you lived in your employer's home.
yeah, or you were a servant.
Yeah.
So it's like when we see Pride and Prejudice, and the Bennets are supposedly not a wealthy family.
They are,
And
well,
they're all worried about
yeah.
money because they've got 5 daughters and no sons, and they've got to marry them off.
Yeah.
And it's like, your house is massive.
so within the, like, in that one, they are at the literally the lowest spectrum of wealthy in England at that time. Also, because of a law in inheritance, a girl couldn't inherit.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the
yeah.
house wouldn't have gone to any of the Bennett girls. They have
No,
to.
it would have gone to
the fucking cousin.
Mr. What's his name?
Collins?
Mr. Collins,
Yeah.
yes.
So if the house had belonged to Mrs. Bennett and she didn't get married, she could have kept it to herself. And like it, yeah. Anyway, inheritance law was weird about women. Unmarried women had more.
When did that change?
I don't know. That's a specific question I don't have the answer to.
Oh, really? Sometimes when she shakes her head at me and I'm like, what do you mean that's the thing you don't know?
An unmarried woman had more financial independence than a married woman.
Right.
And you could own your own property and stuff.
But even if you were an unmarried daughter, you still couldn't inherit. You still had
Yeah.
to be married in order to be...
because it would go to your husband.
husband.
But yeah, if you were an unmarried woman, you could own property, you could have a business, but you couldn't if you were a married woman.
And yeah, I'm those things now and I still can't do that.
No.
I'm unmarried. I don't own property.
But you are going to inherit. You're the only grandchild.
So this magical nanny shows up. She says she's got 5 lessons to teach, which the internet can't decide what the 5 lessons are. So I'm going to tell you what the 5 lessons are according to me.
Okay.
According to Megan
Well,
Mundy.
because the first one is, she says, lesson 1, learn to go to bed when you are told, is complete. But the internet says, and I think maybe this might be a reference to the fact that this is, spoilers, it's based on a book. The first lesson is saying please, because Simon does say please. So they that's the thing, that she gets them out of the kitchen and they all have to say please,
Yeah.
right?
To make them stop almost killing the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake, please then! Take that kid off me!
Please, Nanny McPhee.
Get up when they're told is lesson 2.
they maybe there's 5 lessons not in chronological order, you know? Like maybe she said the please.
No, it's the first one. The first one and the last one are the ones that are not. The
Oh,
other
okay,
one, the
okay.
other 3 are defined. The second one is get up when you're told. Then third is get dressed when you're told. The 4th is learn to listen, which is more of a lesson for Colin Firth. And then the last one, which I have written, because the internet says this is just do what you're told. No, I think the last one is learn the consequences of your actions, because she says at one point to Simon, are you prepared to deal with the consequences of your actions?
Yes.
I suppose because that whole bit really centers around the word behave.
Yeah. So that's what she's here to teach the kids. These 5 things she claims are her lessons specifically.
Well, because Colin Firth says these are the problems.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they try and get rid of her because they don't like her. And then all of this other extra plot stuff comes out, like actually Colin Firth's destitute and he needs to remarry in order to save the house, like we've said.
And he needs to be honest with his children about his intentions.
Yes.
And yeah.
So that's what the story's about. It's based on a book. Did you know it was based on a book?
I did know it was based on a book, and the screenplay was by Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. It's based on a book series called Nurse Matilda, which was first published in 1964 by an author called Christiana Brand. Now, I couldn't find the names of the kids in the book without actually getting the book, but one of the kids is called Christiana, which I think is
That's lovely.
very nice and
Yeah.
sweet. And
Here's an accent thing. I'm going to say Christiana.
in the book,
That's fine.
Yeah, no.
We'll let you.
in the book, it's about Mr. and Mrs. Brown. So in the book, the mum isn't dead,
Ah.
which I get why they've done for
Plot
on-screen
structure.
plot structure reasons, probably because they'd spunked all their budget on having quite a star-studded cast.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the things I wanted to talk about.
What year is it? 2005.
Yeah, it was kind of...
Where?
So Angela Lansbury was secured in 2004.
Right.
So...
Love
But
Lansbury.
so many people in this film have links to Emma Thompson. So
Love
how many
Actually.
of these people were pulled out on a favour to Emma Thompson, given the budget was only 25 million?
Oh, yeah. Well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it
That's
wasn't like a
wow.
huge you've got kids, so half your cast are kids, so you're not paying them that much anyway.
The only
But
problem
you're
with
The other half are it's chock full of icons.
very, very British, iconic.
But with
known
kids,
actors.
you're also paying more because
chaperones and
Chaperones.
and you're
work
filming.
time.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're filming for a lot longer because they can't film for as long as adults.
No, but yeah, so they've 25 million. That is your actor's bill and your effects and everything. So I
Minimal
assume
on the effects in this movie.
these
like,
people
really minimal.
didn't get paid that much for doing the film
Yeah.
in
I
comparison
also
to what they
think-
would normally get paid. But shall we go through the cast then?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
So, got Emma Thompson.
Nanny
who
McPhee.
plays Nanny
Glorious,
McPhee.
glorious actor. I love her.
Yes,
Beautiful,
I love her too.
beautiful.
Yes.
She won an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay, but I don't know which one it was.
What else has she done?
I believe she wrote Bridget Jones's Baby.
She didn't get.
No,
Best
I think
Adapt-
she did, yeah, because she was in it as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, she gave herself the best lines.
I don't know where my phone's gone.
Got Colin Firth,
Yeah,
who
always
plays the dad with the breeding kink.
my brother's
Mr. Brown.
My brother's hairdresser had a fight with Colin Firth in uni, but
Oh my god, yes, he did.
I
yeah.
don't remember the details, so I'll let Arthur tell that story one day. But yeah, his barber used to always go on about how he has like an ongoing feud with Colin Firth, which Colin Firth has probably forgotten. But yeah,
Colin Firth's too busy and famous.
yeah.
Got Kelly MacDonald, who plays the maid.
Evangeline.
According to Mark Commode, the most radiant smile in Hollywood.
I agree with that. She's got a very radiant smile.
Yeah, everything lights up when Kelly MacDonald smiles.
Anyway, whoever likes other people's children. I like you.
Who else have we got? Obviously, the eldest child is played by Thomas Brady Sangster, who is now engaged to, what's her name?
Tallulah Riley.
Tallulah Riley, who was married to Elon Musk twice. So imagine having 1 degree of separation with the richest man in the world.
Weird.
Literally.
The richest, weirdest man in the world.
And he was 15 when he played that role. He looks
And has always looked.
Like he's about
like
5.
He's cherubic.
Cherubic.
He's so cute.
yes.
He look. Oh yeah, he does look a lot younger, but he's so cute.
She won the Oscar for Sense and Sensibility in 1995.
Ah,
really?
okay.
Who else have we got? Imelda Staunton, Celia Imrie, Derek Jacobi, Patrick Barlow, Angela Lansbury.
Oh,
How
I love
the
her.
bloody hell!
Ah, it feels a lot tighter than 8 hours.
It's a very tight movie.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
not
a
long.
tight movie, but that's
All
for-
killing or filler.
For
Yeah.
characters, these are like notable characters. That's quite a lot for a
Yeah.
cast that's also got the same amount of children. in it.
I thought that Derek Jacobi and was it Patrick Barlow
Patrick Barlow, yeah.
had more screen time than they did because they had such what I remember
Such
this
an
film-
impact.
Yeah,
My
I remember this film
favourites.
with them having a lot more room in it. Like they're great.
The gay undertakers.
the gay undertakers
Love them.
with the pink coffins.
Oh, they're so funny.
Morning, Mr. B!
Good morning, Mr. Giles. Mr. Ween.
Thought we'd get you that time.
No, not this time.
It's some of their best roles. I think Angela Lansbury shines. She's hilarious.
But as my sainted father always said, duty, Adelaide, always duty. As to your fortunate daughter, for it must, of course, be a girl and not one of those other things. She will receive private tuition in literature, history, deportment, and above all, elocution. If there's one thing I won't stand for, it's loose vowels.
Celia Imrie, hilarious. Imelda Staunton, just the things that they all do with their faces.
Yes.
They're such comedy performances. They're brilliant.
really, really, really top-notch face acting.
Especially from Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
What does she say?
And
Imelda
Imelda
Staunton,
Staunton.
when she is reminded of her days in the armed forces, and
Oh
she
my
has
God,
to
her
force,
face.
yeah, her face. She has to force herself to not salute. Oh my God, what an incredible performance! She's so funny.
I understand that you were once in the armed forces.
I was that. Cooked at a training camp in Gloucestershire. I did not keep those boys strong and all I did.
And what did we love that Angela Lansbury said? Incest? How has that not been turned into a GIF? It makes no sense
We
to
can
me.
do that though.
She's on the screen on her own, and her body like twists to the side and raises, and it's like it's so perfect.
She looks like she looks like a bird. She looks like a chicken.
She
the way
looks
she
like-
moves.
like a blue shiny
Yeah.
chicken.
Like she looks the way that Mrs. Peacock in Cluedo would look.
Oh, I think Mrs. Peacock wouldn't have a massive nose like that. But
she's-
the fucking nose prosthetics of this film.
She's a bit beaky.
Incest.
I think that this is a good time to mention that we couldn't do the podcast without mentioning that one of the actors who played one of the children, he played Eric, his name is Raphael Coleman, or was Raphael Coleman. He died a few years ago and he was only 25.
Yeah, he was our age.
Yeah, and I remember when we watched this back for Laura's birthday, you told me this a while ago, and watching it actually made me really sad knowing it, because
he's fantastic in it.
You said it while we were watching the film, and I was like,
yeah, I shouldn't have done, sorry.
Why did you? Because I didn't know going in, because you hadn't told me beforehand. It was the first time I'd heard that news, and I was like, you cannot tell me one of the children I'm watching has died.
So he was an environmental activist.
Yeah, he actually was part of Extinction Rebellion in the early days.
And he was going for a run, and you know how it's extremely rare, but it sometimes just happens. He was perfectly healthy and he just died. So yeah, that's very sad.
Excellent notion. Nanny McPhee, we need you. Nanny McPhee, please, we need you. Plenty of hard evidence for it. There isn't one single stepmother in the house even halfway decent. They are an evil breed. Evangeline! For the record, whatever I may have said about stepmothers, that whole evil breed moment most emphatically does not apply to you.
One of the other kids, Christiana, she is the mute child in the middle seasons of Tracy Beaker.
Yes, and we kept saying this yesterday, but she is so cute. And I think she looks a bit like me when I was
a dead
little.
ringer for baby Meg.
But she's such an adorable child.
Do you have a bob in your parents' wedding photos?
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks exactly like you in those photos.
Yeah. A little bit Betty as well. Betty always had a bob.
Who?
Friend of the pod.
Betty who?
Betty Loads, as you well know. Also, something that really jumped out to me on this viewing is she was one of the younger child actresses. She was, I don't know how, she will have been maybe 6 or something.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a child actor act so naturally like a child. Like, there are moments where you just catch her like drifting off into space, like, or like just her line deliveries are insane. It's like they've just recorded her verbatim. It's quite amazing.
I feel like they must have let the kids get to know each other a bit and like get comfortable with each other, because there's scenes of them like playing, and they are not playing like kids who just met. They are playing like siblings. They are actually acting like siblings.
Like when they're doing the kitchen scene and they're all super hyper, she's like jumping and shouting, jump, 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 and it's like that's not something you can really script and direct a child to do. It's really natural.
Yeah.
And yet, in the bit where they can't get out of bed, she's giggling and she suddenly becomes nervous and slowly stops giggling. And that seems like a really mature, like, well thought out comedic bit. Like, I don't understand how she can be so brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't feel well.
Yeah, she's got like an awareness that you shouldn't have at the age of 6. Actually, what's wrong with you?
And the bit where, oh my God, this is one of the bits that makes me really emotional. When Aunt Adelaide is riding off with one of Colin Firth's kids, and he's chasing the carriage like, Christiana, and she runs up to him because it turns out she's not in the carriage, and she goes, Papa! The way she shouts that is like, that's a child that's not acting.
Do you know what I like about that part? So this whole sequence, Aunt Adelaide has come up with a solution to Mr. Brown's problems, which is, his name's Cedric, actually, isn't it? With Cedric's problems, I think we can be on first name terms.
You say in the manners of breeding kink, I think you should use his first name.
Well, and she comes up with this idea that she says, to alleviate your financial problems, I'm going to take one of your children to go live with me. One of the girl ones. I don't want one of the boy ones. I'll take a girl
One of those other ones.
One of those
Relatable.
to go live with me in my house. And obviously none of the children want to go. So I think Eric... It's Nanny McPhee's afternoon off and everything has gone to shit. So Eric, like, basically prays to her. He's like,
Nanny McPhee, we need you. Nanny McPhee, please, we need you.
Doesn't hurt to try.
We need you.
We need you, Nanny McPhee. And she shows up and she diverts Aunt Adelaide by,
She's magic.
She's got this like walking stick staff type thing that she bangs into the ground, and
Very Raven.
The pet donkey stands up and starts dancing, and Aunt Adelaide goes, "Oh, what a lovely child! I'll have that one," or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you think, "Oh, problem solved. Problem isn't solved."
Do not forget that someone has to go with your great aunt, and it cannot be the donkey, can it?
And then
And one of the kids is like, I've always known I was destined for tragedy. I'll go.
I'll go. No, I've always known I was destined for tragedy. I'll go. Eggy, go. Don't be silly, Eggy. You're not even a whole girl yet.
And then you kind of see the carriage driving off, and Cedric doesn't know what the children have, the solution that the children have come.
Does Nanny McPhee say, "Oh, there's someone in there with him" or something? Like she tells him,
Oh, the children have made their decision.
The children made their decision, and then he starts running after the carriage, shouting, "Chrissy!"
Not little Chrissy.
Chrissy! Chrissy!
Which in my head means that's naturally the child he thinks that they would send.
Yeah.
It's like, who is the most annoying? Chrissy. So he's shouting after this carriage, going after this carriage, shouting Chrissy. And it's not her, because she runs up behind him, but I just think it's funny that in his head, that's the obvious conclusion.
I do think that they did that because it is simpler to have the one that Aunt Adelaide caught be the one he thinks goes, because it's a kids movie. But I do think logically the oldest girl would probably go because she's the oldest girl.
On the note of the oldest girl, so they're supposed to be like really naughty children, but
She's
the oldest
normal.
girl has like very eldest daughter energy.
Yeah.
Like she's so like, oh, Simon, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Simon, like
Simon's the oldest, but she's
the most responsible, which isn't that just typical? He's the oldest, but she's the oldest girl, so she's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't fucking do that.
Despite the fact that she seems to be the most logical, because she's like, we shouldn't, this isn't good, this isn't helping, fuck's sake. She is not told that she is the most clever. Simon's the most clever, constantly, even though she's the one that's actually got her head on the straightest.
Eric, you're not making another bomb, are you?
Yeah, and then there's like the nerd one who builds the bomb.
The nerd one.
Yeah, because he's always speaking and like he's always teaching them words.
Excellent notion.
We're convalescing, Papa.
When I
don't know what docs means. What's it's like talking.
No, convalescing is when you're getting better from being ill.
Oh, yeah, the scene where... That's the scene where Cedric says, and Adelaide is coming, and the baby, perfect timing, just immediately starts wailing. It's so funny. And Chrissy goes, she scares me. It's a beautiful line reading.
Your great Aunt Adelaide is coming for tea today.
No, Aunt Adelaide is fine and vicious. She's as blind as a bat. And we are convalescing, for heaven's sake.
No, that's enough. I don't want to hear anything bad about Aunt Adelaide. She pays the rent.
She scares me.
These are some of the best child actors I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're very, very
good.
Yeah.
All of them adults now, which is weird to think of. Like, even the baby's 19.
Fucking hell.
Well, the babies, there's two of them.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah,
they
they're twins.
twins.
They're twins,
Yeah.
yeah.
Aw. Oh, I had something else to say, and it was about... Yes, when the... Oh, what's his name? Eric. When Eric's like praying to Nanny McPhee, something that I think the film does really, really well is that it doesn't explain the Nanny McPhee lore. It just very quickly has the family accept, oh, she must be magic.
Yeah.
Like when Simon wants help getting his father not to marry, he goes up to her attic room and says, you made this happen, so you're on our side, right? Like, the magic stuff doesn't really get, like, people just accept it. And I think it does that very well.
It's a very nice magical realism movie. Like, it's probably the first magical realism thing I watched as a kid, and I have loved that genre since. This movie might be why.
I don't know if it is actually magical realism, or is it just magic?
Well, because it's interwoven into the real world.
Yeah.
If everything was magic, then it would just be magic. But
Do you know what I like is that Elsie said when I when I suggested this, she was like, yeah, I don't know, why are we doing that, blah blah blah. She's literally sitting here like fizzing with things to say. She's scrolling through her notes on her phone right now.
I am.
It's so cute.
I love
what
it.
do you want to say?
Oh, there's too many things I want to say.
Well, I think what I want to say next is that it's worth mentioning that there aren't many bad things to say about this film. But there are a couple of bad things to say about this film.
Go on.
Because it's kind of it's like kind of a fairy tale, kind of like a morality tale kind of thing. So we did actually pick on some things that were actually a bit off.
Yeah.
Nanny McPhee has particular, like, especially fairy tale like features of like hags and witches and things that are bad, especially bad on women, where she has warts, she has a big nose, she's overweight,
big monobrow,
she's a monobrow
tooth.
She has snaggletooth and ratty hair.
Yes, and as the children, so the film is quite clearly divided into these parts. So like every time a lesson is learned, you know that the children have learned a lesson, and Nanny McPhee, one of these characteristics disappears.
Yeah. I don't know if that is clearly delineated though.
At the beginning it definitely is.
Yes.
At the beginning, and it peters off, and I get it more as an adult than I did as a child.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time the children are getting more and more well behaved, and Nanny McPhee is getting prettier, essentially.
There's a direct association with naughty children and ugliness. And then as they become better children, Nanny McPhee gets prettier.
Now, the way I will defend this is that it's a good way of visual storytelling, but which is necessary for a film, right? Yeah. Fine. If this is what happens in the book, I guess it's not. It's just more of a close adaptation, but it's also kind of irresponsible to show kids. Even it is like, it's a fun film and we enjoy it, and I didn't learn anything bad from it. Like this didn't solidify anything bad in my head that wasn't already there. Do you know what I mean? It didn't introduce anything bad to me.
It's working off of things that have been around in Western culture for centuries.
Yeah.
Breaking the wheel would be difficult for a kids movie, so I understand why it hasn't done that, and it would take a lot of different things put all together to actually change this perception. So putting that kind of weight on this kind of movie is not fair. They're working off of existing things. They didn't create them. One I didn't notice until this watch is her weight change. I didn't notice that.
Did you not? Okay.
She's not... I feel like she isn't... quote unquote overweight. She's got like a matronly figure. Like it almost feels like if she wore a different outfit,
that's what happens. She literally goes from a untailored dress that's gapey and like big
I don't think it's a body
it.
thing.
Well, to me that's what that signifies. Obviously, because she doesn't have like her face weight doesn't change, right?
Yeah.
But like it goes from this looser dress that has no tailoring to trimly tailored and showing off Emma Thomas's figure.
Yeah.
So technically,
it's what it represents, isn't it?
Yeah. So, do you think we should be doing this? And because I don't know how I feel, because
I don't think it would have.
I enjoy the film and I'm not thinking about it during the film, but when I think back to it, I am a bit.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if this film was made now, this conversation would probably happen, whereas I think in 2005 they didn't even have this conversation.
No. And I don't think it doesn't sometimes this sort of thing feels malicious, but it doesn't feel malicious because nothing about the film really feels malicious.
I'm trying to think. There's definitely been like Disney films where it's like, this person is evil because they're fat.
Do you know what? Oh, like Ursula.
Yeah.
what made me laugh is the fact that when her first wart disappears, Colin Firth's character decides to bring
Yeah.
that up. He's like, didn't you have a...
You have two of...
and didn't you used to have two...
Didn't you used to have two? Never mind.
And she stands there looking at him blankly, like, in a kind of faux unawareness.
Yeah,
like, she's pretending she doesn't know what he means to give him the opportunity to rethink what he's just said.
She's very gracious.
There's this reels of like a pretend restaurant, and one of them's like, oh, I hate it when people are rude to me. I really don't like when they say mean shit to me. And the other person was like, well, you don't have to take it. If you just say, could you repeat that? People will think about what they've just said and be nicer.
Colin Firth doesn't bring it up in a bad way. He's like ADHD curious. Do you know what I mean?
Like he's really tired, so his politeness filters.
He's
gone.
very sweet.
He is.
Very sweet man.
Like when she says, I did knock, and he goes,
oh, of course.
yes, of course he did, yes.
Of course.
I love that when Nanny McPhee appears out of nowhere in the kitchen, the cook just looks her up and down like, Like, doesn't care that she just...
there is something else that bothers me about this film, though, other than the, like, ugly is bad, pretty is good, right?
Yeah.
And that is when Aunt Adelaide decides she's going to take a child with her. And the solution which Simon comes up with...
We've not even spoken about Evangeline yet.
Right, so Evangeline... Kelly MacDonald,
She's like
beautiful Kelly
maid.
MacDonald, who's the scullery maid. Simon decides to send her instead of one of the kids. And what I've written down here now, does this suggest that lower class staff are expendable? Because even as a kid, I find this idea absolutely ludicrous.
I did find it weird, but I can see what the thinking was. She wanted to... It's already been seeded that she wants to be educated.
So the whole film she's been learning to read. And Nanny McPhee says Simon knew that Evangeline wanted to get an education or that kind of thing, which she knew that she could do at this house. But... none of the kids wanted to fucking go. She probably didn't want to either.
I also want to make it very clear, the movie explicitly at one point states that Aunt Adelaide has intentions of beating the children, whoever she takes with her.
What word does it say that?
In the movie, she says, she makes a reference to beating children. I can't remember the specific dialogue she says. She's like, I'm going to beat
a bit timid maybe, but we'll soon knock that out of you.
Like
but there is a bit where she's like, Aunt Adelaide's in the carriage and she's like, tell me your name. And Nanny McPhee bangs her stick and Aunt Adelaide smiles and goes, and what a pretty name it is too. Yeah. And then later on, Cedric says, she will be all right, won't she, Evangeline? I mean, I can't help but worry.
Yeah.
And, I've never noticed that.
Yeah. He says, I can't help but worry. And she goes, yes, she's going to be all right.
Because
she fixes it.
Yeah, she does.
What? Because she's a scullery maid and had no fucking choice in the matter.
Yeah, like that's just Nanny McPhee's own little...
crossing the eyes, don't the T's.
Yeah, because...
service people for service people.
Yeah, because
she was sent by the union.
Government nanny. I love the relationship between Evangeline and Nanny McPhee. Like the first scene they're together on the balcony when she's watching her learn to read. It's just lovely.
How's the reading coming along?
It's much better, but I still haven't got to the end of that story.
No need. You are the end of the story.
There's so many little nice bits about this film that I've reined it back during this episode, but I've got a little list of lines that I love and little moments that I love that I've been getting shivers down my spine this whole conversation, basically. Like
and you thought there wouldn't be enough.
I don't know. Okay.
Shall we?
You're right. I'm wrong.
Shall we talk about Mr. Brown's job?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Mr. Brown is an undertaker, and he works. Something that kind of blew my mind about this film. I guess I'd never noticed as a child, so it's not a problem for children. There are just dead bodies laying around in some of these shots. And I did have the thought, like, last night while we were watching it, like, how didn't I pick up on the fact that there are loads of dead bodies in this film?
And when he has his argument with Simon, Simon comes in and they're just arguing over a dead body. And there's a line in this scene that for some reason has entered the lexicon of me and my siblings. Like, we say it to each other all the time. You never listen! We say it all the time.
The way he delivers that line just is one of those, like, little audio clips that just lives in my brain.
Yeah.
You never listen!
I'm never going to forget how that's delivered.
And I
It's so
love the
specific.
line, well, it's not really any of your business. And he says, it is if you're going to make us have as a new mother.
It is if you're going to make us have as a new mother.
It's like, oh, well, yeah, you're going to ultimately really fundamentally change my life if there's another woman living in my house. So, fuck you, Dad.
I would like to know if it's in the books that he paints corpses or if that's a genius Emma Thompson edition.
I'm close to buying these books and reading them, but yeah, so he works in this kind of mortuary, with these two other crazy morticians played by
Morning, Mr. Brown.
Derek Jacobi and what's his name? Patrick. What's his name?
Thought we got you that time.
Yeah, and they're like this comedy duo, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember what I like. I likened them to something, didn't I?
Was it a magician duo?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
But they are so funny.
Yeah, I would
They're
watch
definitely
so much.
married.
Poor devil, he was happy to go. So good.
I would watch a whole just separate movie of them two.
They're so memorable, and yet
15 minutes.
didn't
maybe?
realise how
Yeah.
much, how little screen time they
Very
actually
Hannibal
have.
Lecter of them.
I mean, we'll go into it. They are dressed very correctly.
Yeah. So I know that Laura has some things that she wants to say about the set dressing and costume. I just want to say that I know that this set dressing is supposed to be kind of, at times, very garish, kind of at times gaudy, and also quite run down, but I find the colours of this film so mentally stimulating and pleasing to look at.
Their bedroom at, like, presumably
So
sunset, like, they've got, like, tinted windows and the orange coming in. It's almost, what's that Italian, is it giallo? The Italian horror genre that is like ultra colourful. His study with, like, the bright lime green walls with the paint peeling, it is gorgeous.
I love the
room-
hallway with the blue.
Oh, it's so nice.
Each room that we see, except for the kids' bedroom, and the kitchen, seems to have gone with a colour and really stuck with it. Like, his office is very green, not just one green as well. It's like multiple different greens. The hallway is blue.
Mm-hmm.
Where he works is blue and pink. And Mrs. Quickly's house is pink.
Mrs. Quick, the pink and green.
Pink and green. Her
my
outside
God.
her cottage is pink. If you wanted a lesson in maximalist set dressing, it's her fucking house.
I absolutely love her wedding cake, the like pink and green, like three-tier
fuchsia pink.
fuchsia lime green. I love it.
I love my weddings.
All the food looks, like Harry Potter. It looks so good to eat.
So-
oh my God.
In Victorian times, garish overcluttedness was actually quite popular. Like, you would have a room with fuck tons of stuff in it if you were middle class or upper class.
Yeah, because it gives trying to be stylish.
Yeah. So if you would have this room where you took your visitors, or like the drawing room, the tea room, whatever, where it would be full of trinkets, full of stuff, like overstuffed, fire hazard level.
Look at all my
stuff.
things. Please come in and look at my things.
The rest of your house wouldn't be so
Laura's
densely
bedroom.
I bought
decorated.
these things for you to look at.
No, it was all about showing off wealth, and also because there was this new market of mass manufacture that had only just really gotten on its legs. So stuff was more available to buy, stuff was much cheaper to buy, so that everyone was like, yeah, stuff.
I like things.
And things would be super colorful because there's so in was it 18 40s, aniline dye was invented, which let you do the really bright colors. So like some of the dresses and stuff in this would actually have been physically possible because they had the dyes.
Too many films set in the past are dull.
Yeah, well,
and it's for kids.
So medieval, fucking garish as all get out. They loved color, but because all the ruins and stuff are really faded, we don't think of it as that. But we would have thought that they looked just
horrific.
And yet on TV, it's like mud.
Yeah.
Straw.
That's only the northern.
Yes.
Have you guys seen that the reconstruction of the statue of Caesar?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's like it's the same bright fuchsia as Mrs. Quickly.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Gay.
Yeah, it's like bright purple, bright turquoise. But the green was really popular. The green of his office isn't quite the green, but it would have had lead in it, so his office would have killed it.
Laura started going off about things while we were watching it, like, oh my god, lead poisoning, and I was like, oh my god, kids film.
What about
isn't green?
the attic that sort of doubles as Nanny McPhee's
bedroom.
Quarters? So that was always, I felt, a weird departure from the rest of the film. It's almost like Simon has sort of ascended into her godly realm. It's a little bit.
It's white.
It's white.
And it's more like undecorated.
It's bare. It's barren. There's just like sunlight and nothing else. I think it's a lovely scene.
She has migraines. That's why she has that room.
Yes.
Even like the modern equivalent is like bare concrete, which would be horrible.
Yeah.
But that room, like, there's nothing in it until Simon summons
Oh,
her.
there's her staff just leant against a bare wall, which he picks up and bangs.
Yeah.
Hello, Simon. Can I help you?
I did knock.
I know. I heard you.
That hallway immediately reminded me of Lost in Austin.
Lost in Austin, yeah, when she like... Yeah, it's... Have you ever seen
I've
it?
seen the first episode of Lost in
Oh,
Austin.
it's so good. Yeah, you were making a lot of interesting comments about the costumes as well.
Yeah, I really like. We've briefly mentioned this in one other episode. I really like fashion history, and the people I watch, a lot of them really like Victorian fashion as well. So they talk about it a lot. The only person that's dressed like there's two people that are dressed correctly consistent. Actually, 4 people that are dressed correctly consistently. Evangeline, I don't know if her last blue dress is accurate, but her scullery maid outfit's really good. The Derek Jacobi and Patrick Baller, their shirts are really good. And then Mrs. Quickly's friend is also dressed correctly.
A fantastic actress. I can't remember her name, but she always looks really ill, and I love it. In this movie,
correct for the time period.
She looks so unwell in this movie.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
She's very adaptable.
She's a chameleon.
Yeah.
She's really good.
But yeah, but Mark Darcy, not Mark Darcy.
Cedric Brown.
Colin Firth, he is not dressed at all.
He is
appropriate.
dressed.
Yeah, he's dressed, but like,
unfortunately.
but like he's just wearing modern shirts.
Yeah, when you look at the shirt, it's like, oh, M&S.
Yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, someone hand sewed this. No, it's like you popped down the shops and bought this.
One of my favourite bits of the film is when it's the day of his wedding to Mrs. Quickly, and all the children are like lined up in their wedding outfits in the hallway, and his aunt arrives, or he's showing someone in through the door, and he says the shepherdesses are this way, and the boys actually I don't know what the boys are, because the girls are dressed as like Little Bo Peep, and the boys are dressed as something.
Sailors?
I don't know, but they're not shepherds, are they?
A few years ago, I don't know when it was. I think I was maybe 15 or something. I was watching Nanny McPhee, and I hadn't seen it in quite a long time. But I had seen it a bunch of times before. And it got to the kitchen scene, which is the first scene that's really like high energy.
Yeah.
And it's the first magical scene, really. And like, emotions are high, and I got really overwhelmed by it, and it got to the point where Chrissy points at Nanny McPhee and goes, "It's her fault," and the music sort of swells, and I started crying because I realised how much I loved the film.
Well, stop if you want to! We can't! should bang that stick!
God, she thought she had nothing to say.
Oh, Imelda Staunton's outfit,
Yeah.
completely anachronistic.
Oh my
but-
God, her hair is so yellow.
But I love. She's basically got a almost pajama-esque military shirt on.
Oh, I'm getting
Yeah.
Imelda Staunton
I
and
did
Celia
want to say,
Imrie
do
mixed
you
up.
mean orange?
No, yeah, her hair is so orange.
Yeah. She's got like a military-esque shirt on, the high collar and the like shoulder thingies, and she's got a military hat on, but she's a chef.
She the design choices and like makeup choices for some of the characters are very like imaginative. Like I don't even think I would have thought. She's got bright red, sort of almost Chucky hair.
Yeah,
and like
she's very flush.
she's
all the
very
time.
flush all the time. And then Celia Imrie's character's got like blonde hair that looks like it has been badly dyed.
It's yellow.
Yeah. Oh, also I do want to mention that she has got 2 accessories that are lambs that are dyed pink and yellow.
Yeah.
Which I assume is why the girls are dressed as a
Yeah,
sub-OP.
yeah.
Well, she's with her friend, like eating like tea and cakes in her parlour before the kids come along and beg her to get back with their dad.
Yeah.
And she's saying like she's clearly had a few wines and like sherries. And she's like, oh, I just got the sheep dipped yesterday.
Kane, oh, Letty was in a maddened condition. He couldn't keep his hands off me, but I held firm. I said, Cedric, I have my reputation to uphold. It's marriage or nothing. What do you take me for, some common... Tart? Not for me, I bloated. No, some common tart. You said, who's that knocking? It might be him.
And she's like stumbling over her words, and it's beautiful. It's just 2 girlies having tea.
Oh yes, the aunt, the great aunt Adelaide.
That's the
why
one.
Why are names so difficult for me today? She has set the like you need to get married within a month, Cedric, or I'm cutting you off.
Cedric!
Yeah. The aunt gives Big the evil great aunt Elizabeth from Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Catherine de Bourgh.
Catherine de Bourgh.
She gives Big Catherine de Bourgh energy, but shiny and blue.
All women want is the patronage of Catherine de Bourgh.
But yeah, so you have a month to marry, and the only woman in this presumably village that is available to Cedric Brown is Mrs. Quickly.
He only knows one woman.
It'll have to be her.
The only reason he knows her as well because presumably he worked on her late husband.
Yeah.
Yes, he's given like this ultimatum, and he's like at work stressing about it, and he like puts his head out through the like curtains of his working area and says to the other 2 guys that work there, oh, what does he say to them? He's like, have you got the details?
You don't remember the woman who came in
and they
6
say
months
something
ago.
back that's so funny, but I can't.
They say
Mrs. Thaddeus, quickly. Oh, don't. Oh, Mr. Brown, you are a saint. You have a lovely look of kindness about you.
What I wouldn't give for a man like you, Mr. Brown, in my hour of need.
That one.
Yes, that one.
We buried Mr. Quickly last autumn. Poor devil. He was happy to go.
Yeah, and he was her third.
He was.
You don't happen to know if she ever remarried? No, number 4.
Mr. Brown, you're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you, Mr. Brown?
Good grief! No. What a thought! No.
oh, Mr. Brown, you have a lovely look of kindness about you. Well, I wouldn't give Mr. Brown.
No,
for a
they
man-
say something when he's like in.
They quote her.
They quote, yeah, and they quote they talk about his husband.
I'm sorry to interrupt there.
No, that's right. They quote his husband, poor devil. He was happy to go. They said to each other.
I thought that they'd said something. I thought that they'd made a reference
they
to
said-
how desperate he
Yeah, they
was.
said, "Oh, Mr. Brown, you're not thinking what I think you're thinking."
Yeah, no, of course not. Just curious.
God, no.
Of course not.
And then they look at each other and they go, "Oh."
Because presumably, like, they also know how slim of the bachelorette options are in this village.
I mean, so is it any wonder that he ends up marrying the only other woman available?
I love Sebastian, the
little round-faced
round child, when it's very near the beginning, he's shouting to Evangeline, they've been told they're not allowed to have supper, and he goes, I really am hungry, Evangeline. Could I maybe have some secret toast and jam? All right, forget the jam, just some secret toast. And then Evangeline, little grass, goes to Mr. Brown. And it's a lovely scene where she's saying, do you want me to plump the pillows on Mrs. Brown's chair? Only I know how you like to do it yourself sometimes. Because Mr. Brown talks to this chair a lot. And she grasses out Sebastian. She says, I was wondering if I could give Sebastian some toast. No, they get nothing. Well, I could do it secret, like. That's a lovely bit of dialogue, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then they storm the kitchen, tie up the cook, and there's all the adults are yelling, and Evangeline turns to Miss Brown. She's like, "It's your fault. You didn't let them have dinner."
Oh, and they have their little argument.
They're in the kitchen.
No, you took them down for toast.
I never did. You sent them to bed with no dinner. That's what done it.
Don't tell.
Why don't you,
Okay.
No, I think I'd better deal with
Well,
this.
no, I can...
And she speaks back to him, and then there's a knock on the door, and that, like, iconic silhouette of Nanny McPhee, and they jump together. Yeah.
She gets in the way of the sexual tension.
She causes it.
She causes the sexual tension.
She knew what she was doing the whole time.
Oh, yeah, it's Nanny McPhee.
Another scene that I think is utterly magical is when the kids who all share this, like, dorm-like bedroom.
I love that as well.
Yeah.
I love that they all sleep in one
and they
room.
all have their little booth, like they've all decorated it out themselves.
It's very barracks.
They're doing...
It's so much military iconography in this film.
And there are 7 of them. It's almost Von Trapp-like. But yeah, they're doing... You can tell without them saying it that they've done this a million times before with all the other nannies. They're giving the wrong names. They're introducing themselves as, like, funny names. And the little kids are, like, arguing over, no, I'm bum. You can't be bum. You're poo.
Yeah.
Like... And
bosoms.
Like, she's so cute.
You can't be bum. Like you
can't be poop and bum.
They're calling each other by their names and then saying, "No, you can't be poo or bum." Like,
Aggie's poo.
It's so cute, and you know that they've, like, been doing it ages, and it's their thing. But then Nanny McPhee leans into, like, she's looking at the baby in the face, and the baby's looking back. Like, she stops rattling and she takes notice, and she goes, "Good night, Agatha."
Good night, Agatha.
And the baby, like, looks down like she's a little bit scared. It's such a magical moment. And then she goes round all of the other kids. It's like, "Good night, Lily. Good night." What's the oldest girl called? I can't remember.
Tora.
Good night, Tora. Good night, Christiana. Wow. And then she gets to the end of the room. She gets to the door and she turns around and she goes, "Good night, Simon."
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
They're like, you little cunt.
they're all really unsettled, and it's just really good.
I love the names of all these guys. I love the name Tora.
I do think that some of the names, like, I don't think the kid named Simon should be named Simon. I think he should be Eric. Like, some of the...
Really, I think he looks quite like a Simon.
Might just be because my dad's called Simon, so...
Say please, Simon. Oh, for goodness sake, please, then.
I think Aggie...
We don't need clips, just Elsie.
I think Aggie, the baby, I know she's played by 2 babies, but she is so cute I could cry.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you're one of the 2 people who played that baby, I think you're one of the most baby-looking babies in the whole world.
I'm obsessed with the way that, like, when they're all lined up ready for the wedding and they're getting that talk from Mrs. Quickly, she rips the rattle off the baby.
Oh my God,
and the baby starts crying for real because obviously it would. And it's like, that's so nasty.
And we're not having any of that nasty noise all the way through my nice wedding either. Shut her up. Naughty.
It's our mother's rattle. Give it back.
I'm your mother now.
The baby's got a rattle from the dead mother.
Yeah.
And the stepmom, the soon-to-be stepmom, rips it out of the baby's hand
And snaps
it in half in front of her face. And
I'm your mummy now.
Oh, Elsie.
That was so
Elsie.
good.
Thanks.
Elsie. Oh, maybe I have to stop recording. No, it's...
Dear listener, help me.
It's so heartbreaking to watch.
And then at the end, when it starts snowing and the cut goes, snow in August!
Yeah.
Snow in August! Well, when that's happening and everything's worked out, there's just a little like, oh, it's fine. The fixed rattle is dropping down from the heavens. She's still got the rattle. It's okay.
It's like, at the end of the film, everything magically, like, it starts snowing, which feels a bit shoehorned in there because there's no reason for it to happen other than the fact that the cook has been saying there'll be snow in August before she's there when I need her or something, and she doesn't need to say that. So everything is like magically turns white for the new wedding.
Evangeline's dress turns into a wedding dress.
Into a wedding dress because, oh, spoilers, they get married at the end.
Colin Firth is wearing the outfit he's wearing at the beginning of Bridget Jones 2.
He's marrying,
And also as Mr. Darcy.
he's marrying a woman who looks young enough to have been able to be passed off as one of his own children, which I have always thought is a bit strange. And as we were watching it last night, it's like the whole film, when it's meant to look gross and garish and ugly, we're like, oh my god, it looks amazing. And as soon as everything went white, that was when we started going, oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Oh, I don't know if I like that. I don't like the way a veil looks. Oh, why is it snowing like that? We're like, bring the colours back.
The most visual effects are in this moment because they Elsa her wedding dress and the veil sits really weirdly over her face. I think the only other time I think there are like VFX as a focus point is when she's given the measles medicine and it's
no, there's also the donkey.
Oh yeah,
and there's the
actually,
bit
you're
in the
right.
kitchen at the beginning when
they're sped
when they're sped
That
up.
was clever.
That's
I
clever,
really
yeah.
want to know how they did that because
Their bodies are moving fast, but their faces are moving normally.
yeah, which I think I don't exactly know how you would do that,
Do
especially
you
if
know
they...
much about video editing though?
Well, no, I'm asking.
Yeah, but you're like, I don't know exactly how they do that specifically, but I do know a lot of other things.
I think they would have probably
Whoa, sorry guys.
filmed on film in 2005,
I just hit
right?
myself in the head with a lamp.
You okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Government nanny?
She's done something to us! They went in the park! I can't stop!
I like when the snow is falling, the first thing you actually see is the shadow of the snow in all the rooms of the house that we've been in, and then we go outside. And twice in the film, Nanny McPhee does a little curtsy to the dead mum's chair, and I think that is
It's very nice.
absolutely
It's
lovely.
very cute, yeah. We haven't talked yet about when Cedric he's at the end of his rope, he's like, oh fuck, and my only option, I have to send a message to Mrs. Quickly, I have to do it. And she comes around and we haven't talked about that
The whole
scene.
sequence.
Oh yeah, when he's trying to get her out of the way of all the booby traps the kids have set, and she's basically like, this man is so horny for me.
Oh my god.
I do beg your pardon, I don't know what came over me.
I do. I understand. I never took you for such. But now I see it. Passion is clearly your nature too. I feel it.
So they're in his office, and the kids are all either in the office somehow or outside the window. Where's Nanny McPhee during this? Like,
It's her day off, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, because that was
no,
when-
it's not,
It
yeah.
isn't her day off. Because her day off is...
I remember. Does Simon not say to her, "Help us stop this"? And she says,
You're on your own, do what you
"You're on
want.
your own."
yeah.
Yeah.
We need you to help us get rid of this woman, Mrs. Quickly.
It will not surprise you to hear that I cannot agree to that, Simon.
Then at least will you promise to let us do whatever we have to do to get rid of her?
Are you prepared to accept the consequences?
Yes.
You're right. And so the kids decide sabotage via mostly food
Yeah, or worms and toads
and electricity.
and electricity.
And when she calls him a bounder and a cad, he
a
then
flounder and a
bad.
No! This is too much, sir! You are a cad! A bounder and a cad!
Yeah, he
Dad.
decides then to come clean and say to the kids, like, that was the last thing standing between us
Yeah.
and ruin. And
you're off to the workhouse.
yeah, and he mentions, like, some of you will be sent to the workhouse. Oh, it's such a horrible scene. It's so miserable.
That is like, okay, well, there's options for you. Like, I don't know how the property ladder worked in 1860, but presumably you could move into a smaller house and maybe afford to still keep your children. Like, it's not like he has to sell his children. I don't know why it immediately, okay, no allowance. Rather than going, okay, we'll move somewhere smaller, it's immediately you have to go into basically slavery.
A little while ago, she told me that I had to remarry or the allowance would stop. This woman today was my last chance. Our last chance.
Ours?
When the money stops, the house will be taken. Some of you will perhaps be put into the workhouse. Some will be put into the care of others. I don't know how many of you will be allowed to stay together. I'm sorry to have failed you, children. You deserve so much better.
It is quite horny.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsie didn't
Yeah.
like it last night when we kept saying that this was a really horny film. She's like, no, it's not. It is, though.
It is.
There is
Maybe
some
that
quite
scene is a little
horny behaviour from some of the
Celia
characters.
Imrie brings the horniness.
Yeah, she does. She does. She's got her boobs out.
Oh my god, the cleave.
She's dressed for the wrong century. I presumably so they could show off her cleave.
I'll be honest with you, though. Does everyone now dress like they're from this century?
Most people.
No, a lot of 90s fashions back in.
Oh, I see what you mean.
When we were teenagers, it was 80s fashion.
I see what you mean. There's a thing with like
So maybe she's just got a style and she likes it.
No, that's completely fair. It's just one of those things where it's like, because fashion was so different century to century, if you dressed like it was the 19th century at any point between now and 1900, like if you dressed like it was 1850 at any point after 1900, people would be like,
Yeah, but am I a noblewoman or am I a pauper? Because I don't dress that differently to how I imagine paupers from the 1850s.
the main thing that changed for all peoples would be silhouette generalness. So like in the I don't remember what decade.
The silhouette now being potato.
I don't know exactly what year, but there was in the possibly 1860s, probably a bit later, the bustle, you know, the like everything being here in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, got really popular. And then in Edwardian times, so like 1910, really pigeon-breasted with everything else being quite slim was very popular. The like S sort of thing. Yeah. So that was like, and poor women and rich women would try and fit the silhouettes just to varying degrees of ability. Men have been wearing suits for fucking ages.
I just want to talk about the lessons, really, that she says she wants to teach, because I don't know if they're the 5 lessons I would choose.
Well, they do bring it up. She does say a little bit later in the film, I have 5 lessons to teach. What they learn is up to them.
No, I know, but
And lesson 4 to listen is complete. And that she's saying that to Mr. Brown because that's the lesson for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But say the agency said you got the opportunity to focus on 5 areas of study with your nanny. What was your 5 areas of study? Because I don't know if I would be choosing things like get dressed when they're told.
I think
That's general obedience, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that choosing the 5 lessons gives this like focus to the plot and structure.
Yeah, no,
to
I
it,
agree.
Whereas if it was realistic, you'd probably do more nebulous areas like discipline, politeness, honesty.
And they're all things that you can show in a film, like putting clothes on,
saying please,
going to bed, getting up. I don't know if that's where I needed help when I was a child.
I had nannies.
Why don't we talk about your childhood with you experience with your nannies, Laura? Because the lessons,
can't relate, we don't know.
you needed to learn were things like not to be such a little prick,
To your nanny.
not to. I don't know if this will make it into the final edit, but not to have made a nanny cry and be sat across from the crying woman looking proud of herself.
I relate a lot to these children in the beginning when I was a kid because I didn't scare away 18 nannies like all of my learned them. It was I think nannies today are
only about 12 or 13.
Nannies today are made of stronger stuff because there is no way in hell I could trick a nanny into thinking I was eating a baby.
No, that is
Baby in the baby.
That's
the
how.
baby.
Just to say, right at the beginning of the film, the nanny's screaming, running out of the house to the dad's work, going, "They've eaten the baby!"
Just as a quick aside, I looked to see if I could find any like really negative reviews or anything on Mum's Net, and I couldn't. But someone did say this film said it wasn't going to be scary, but it starts with the children pretending they've eaten a child.
It starts with cannibalism.
Yeah, it starts with cannibalism, and I do think that this should have been noted. It's like, yeah, fair enough, because some kids might not like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's like, really though, I mean, of course they didn't eat the baby. It's a chicken.
But in the Victorian times, maybe they, hungry. He's got no money. Eat the smallest one. Well, you'd eat the largest one, wouldn't you?
Look around.
You'd eat Simon.
Look around for the baby before you go, yes, they've definitely eaten
Is it the
baby.
baby which they've put in a pot full of vegetables?
Why
so they
doesn't-
take the lid off and there's the baby. With...
Why doesn't Tora, as the largest child, not simply eat the others?
What was I saying?
About your experience with nannies.
Right. Yeah, because I said to these guys, there was one, I don't personally remember this, but we'd had like a temporary nanny. And my mum came home and she was like, when I came home and I walked in the door, you were sat at the kitchen table with a big smile on your face, sitting across from a crying woman.
What had you done to make her cry?
I don't know.
Is there a chance your mum's lying about this?
Probably not. I was not.
What would be the goal for lying about that, though?
Making Laura feel bad, I don't know.
There's other ways. There's more effective ways that she employed.
Oh, God.
I know when she was trying to make me feel bad because she did it all the time.
This is no longer a fun podcast.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I was just vicious. I think I was just saying horrible things. Because then the second my mum got home, the woman ran out crying.
My
She's
God.
like responsible enough to know that you can't leave a 5-year-old alone or younger, but really doesn't want to be there anymore. I don't know where my brother was in all of this.
Oh my God, the medicine scene.
The context of them all having measles in my like modern understanding of measles, I'm like, that's so serious to play with.
Yeah. But there's so she pulls out the medicine and it's like CGI gloopiness.
It's like moving on its own.
And it's like sort of a scary, like tense kind of music. And it's getting closer to his mouth, and then the music stops, and it's gone quiet, and he's looking at it. And Chrissy just goes in the background, "It's moving!" And it's like, I don't know if that was like an improv from her, because it doesn't go with the rest of the sound design at all, but it's such a funny addition.
She wouldn't have been able to see it moving, so I feel
That
like
is true.
more likely she was told to say that.
Or they were all just riffing.
Maybe.
But it just sounds like that was a moment that was supposed to be quiet, and then she goes,
maybe she was supposed
off
to say
screen.
it quietly, and she's like, nah.
Anyway, that's another part that's like entered the lexicon of me and Arthur and Betty.
Then you will not get any better. Believe me.
I wish I'd had Nanny McPhee as a nanny.
So I
No, but
don't
when
know-
you want her and do not need her, she
Okay,
has to
now,
go.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I definitely needed her when I was a kid, Elsie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you couldn't go to bed when you were told or get dressed when you were told.
Oh,
You definitely still can't get up when you're told.
Hey, I was awake
Well.
early this morning because I had
Yeah.
a doctor's call.
Why do you keep poking the books?
Emphasis.
I wanted to do this film because it's always on at Christmas. So
Yeah.
I know it's not a Christmas film, but it reminds me of Christmas.
It finishes with snow.
Yeah.
in August, though.
Well, yeah.
If my cousins haven't seen it, I'm going to watch it with them this Christmas.
Yeah, I might just watch it with me this Christmas.
I would love to show you both the sequel.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second
Yeah.
one.
When did
There's
it
meant to be a
come out?
third one as well, and they shelved that because the
Yeah.
second one, even though it did really well, didn't do well enough.
Yeah.
So
It's not as good, but it's very good, and it's you'd really
It's funny
I can't wait
because
to watch it with you. Actually,
I didn't know anything about this, and I said to Elsie last night, "Can you imagine if instead of Thomas Brodie Sangster, the oldest child was played by Asa Butterfield?" She went, "In the sequel, it is."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The film you're imagining exists. It came
It's
out 2
the
years
second
later.
one. Yes.
we should watch it.
Well,
It's a lot
I
of fun.
recommend that if you one of the few people listening to this who hasn't seen it, you take time over Christmas,
Yeah.
to watch this.
It's just delightful. It's on Now
It is.
TV in the UK.
But it will probably be on ITV at some point.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it will.
Has anyone got any nice plans for Christmas? What are you doing?
For about 4 days, I'm going to go.
Well,
to
no,
Hull.
no, it's already Christmas.
Yes, remember, it is Christmas. It is at
Oh.
least the 23rd.
It's Christmas. It's definitely not
Ah,
still November.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. I am going to be stuffing my face with all the food
Every food.
and all the wine. Yeah.
So back on November 23rd or 8th, Meg made a really nice little roast dinner for me and for herself, but like for me. So I'm excited for more roast dinners.
More roast dinners.
More roast dinner.
Yeah, mainly the food, to be honest.
I am not having. This will be like the second, or maybe I think third year that I've not had Christmas, had a big Christmas. I'm just gonna be with my mum and dad, and me and my mum have got. I believe we've got a salmon on crew for Christmas Day.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like fuck a roast,
Fancy.
fuck a roast.
We but roast potatoes.
No, we'll have roast potatoes. It's just my dad is not going to eat any meat anyway.
So you're just like fuck a roast bird.
Yeah, who's doing that?
want fish.
I can't go to Tesco on Christmas morning and get a rotisserie chicken, which is what I would do.
I don't know for certain. Obviously, by this point in time, I will know for certain because presumably I'll be there. We're having.
No, you're there now.
Yes. Hopefully, I'm there now. Hopefully, where I am currently is my aunt's house. Because I think Christmas is just infinitely better when there's kids who are enjoying Christmas in a way
Yes,
that you
I
can't
do
as an
agree.
adult.
I wouldn't know because
You have 2 younger siblings.
No, I know, but we're really close in age. There are no children in my family. We're the children.
Oh, wait, well, I see what you mean. I
And
just
we're
mean, like,
adults.
well, when you were kids, Christmas was more fun than when you were an adult, right?
Well, sure,
And
but I
watching-
couldn't drink.
Watching kids have that fun
It is quite nice.
is infinitely better. I mean, yeah, you can also now drink as an adult, but see the joy.
Well, then I need one of you to hurry up and have some kids so I can experience that, please. Meg, looking at you.
What Santa bringing you?
Santa is bringing me.
Bill's money.
Well, actually, I've just had an idea. I think for a little behind the paywall bonus episode, we should give each other our presents on mic.
That would be nice. Yeah, Laura's bought me an experience, so she can reveal it on mic.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you haven't guessed, Laura is absolutely shocking at keeping secrets.
Oh,
Like
okay,
I'm just
Unbelievably
shush.
bad.
It's for very sweet reasons, because she loves giving gifts and she gets very excited about them, but she will talk and talk around a present until you basically know what it is. And I know she's trying very hard this year, and honestly, Laura, it doesn't ruin it for me if you told me right now what it was. And so you saying this does not ruin the experience for me, because this is very funny.
I'm not bad at keeping secrets. I'm bad at not telling people what presents I've got. Specifically, gift secret.
You are also quite bad at just keeping your mouth shut. I think that you don't have that wherewithal to think, should this be a secret? That's your problem.
Yeah, I do need to be told, hey, don't
say that to people.
Yeah, I will confide in something to Laura and her grandma knows the next day.
No, okay. It's not that fast to spread around the family. It's Meg who knows within the hour.
It depends when you're seeing your family, Laura.
That's true.
If you're seeing your grandma the next day, she knows the next day.
That's true. She does know some things about Meg that Meg wishes she didn't know.
I would say things about me that my own family don't like. And Mum and Dad, these are not secrets that I'm keeping from you. Because I don't love and trust you.
Don't want to know.
These are things that I don't want Laura's grandma to know, and she does.
She is definitely forgotten.
Good.
Yeah. What were we talking about before?
Giving presents on mic.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear that,
just to be quite 2012 YouTube about it, anything that we give on mic, we're not bragging. We bought it with our own money.
Oh, actually, one of Elsie's gifts is now free because an error was made with some shipping stuff. So now it's free because I've been refunded it.
It makes me feel really special. Yeah.
Well, fucking, yeah.
So, well, I hope you all have a good Christmas, guys.
Thank you for listening to us just talk about Nanny McPhee. We just love it.
Well, the thing is, that is the podcast, to be fair.
Yeah, it is.
We don't have to have fun facts about it. There aren't really that many fun facts, but it's just a nice film.
Lovely film.
Well, but when we were watching the credits, we watched the entire credits, reading out different names of the credits because there are some brilliant names in the credits. What I really enjoyed is when both of us, when in time with her, said bounder and a cat, because it's one of those
and
things.
I said, what does cad mean and what does bounder mean?
Yeah, because when we were defining what rake meant to you the other day.
And then, I said, what does rake mean? And they went, it's
bounder
like
and a cat.
No, you said it's like a cad. And I said, what's a cad? And they were like oh, you know what she says in Nanny McPhee? She says bounder and a cad. And I said, what's a bounder? I don't know what bounder means, cad, rake, docks. I don't know what any of these things mean.
Anachronistic.
What does that mean? The one he says about getting better. What's
convalescence?
That word? Convalescent. What do these words mean? I'm not very clever.
There is something you should understand about the way I work. When you need me, but do not want me, then I must stay. When you want me, but no longer need me, then I have to go.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
See you in the new year.
Are we doing, when is the anniversary?
The 19th, but we can do it just in general January. Okay. If that is easier for you, we can do that.
For me.
For all of us.
Have a good Christmas. You celebrate, and just
have a holiday.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah.
Shut up. She's going to list them all.
Happy Kwanzaa.